So it's finally done. Not only do I now have my own race car, I've built my own Formula race car which can compete in Australia's largest national open wheeler category, the Australian Drivers' Championship. But before we go racing, we need to make sure this thing actually works. Now, if you watched the last episode, you probably thought that I had completely finished this car before the sun had even managed to disappear over the neighbouring takeaway shop. But that's not exactly how it all went down.
Oi! Whoa. What are you doing? Is the car ready to go?
I think so.
Well, come on mate, get it on the trailer, we gotta go.
Yeah. Alright, let's go.
See, the night before I was supposed to take this thing to the track, I didn't even know if the engine was going to spin the wheels. It was 6 PM and I was lowering this car down onto its wheels for the first time. That's when reality had started to sink in. I was getting up at 4 AM the next morning to take this thing to Winton Motor Raceway, and I was just looking at it for the first time, sitting on the ground. What the fuck have I gotten myself into? With the car on the ground, I was able to go through the alignment process. We've developed these alignment pins which can be used with a laser to set the car to the standard toe-in of 0.5 degrees front and rear. With the pin installed, you can simply adjust the track or tie rod until the laser lines up with the groove on the pin. Next is camber, which we can use a set square and some aluminum U-channel to measure the gap from the bottom of the rim to the top. With some basic trigonometric function, we can work out the angle between these two lengths and change the camber shim until we get the measurement that we want. But after doing 43 of these cars, we can simply set the gap to around 15mm.
Now, there were a few things that I didn't film as I needed to keep the video entertaining enough to get the ad revenue that I needed to put the fuel in the car the next day. Seriously, I didn't actually know how I was going to be running this car, but that sounded like a future Zach problem. So I carried on well into the night, completing the more tedious tasks that go into finishing a race car like this. Things like tow hooks, electrical stickers, vortex generating fins. It felt like my list was never ending. But at exactly 12:13 in the morning, I mean, it didn't end, but it was good enough to drive.
It was finally time. We'd arrived at Winton Motor Raceway for our shakedown, and I was feeling all of the emotions, from excitement to nervousness. I just built my own race car, from every nut and bolt to carbon bodywork. It was all dawning on me at this point. Once we'd arrived, I just had a few things to do, like set my tyre pressures and add fuel to the car. I also did a quick test fit to make sure my seat insert felt good, and that I was happy with the control positions. Then it was time to head out. What a moment. I'd done it. We'd done it. With all the support from my subscribers, we'd actually managed to achieve this ridiculous goal of building my own Formula race car. After a few slow shakedown laps, mainly to make sure that the coolant temps were stable and that the engine wasn't going to spontaneously combust, I brought the car into the pit lane to have Dean check things out before continuing on with my session.
Good job, dickhead.
Anyways, it was time to have a little bit of fun. After bringing the car in, it was time to have a proper look to make sure that everything was fine. All we needed to do was tension the chain as it just been bedded in and add a zip tie to this loose radiator hose. We refilled the car with fuel and it was good to get back on track. But then, disaster had struck.
Subtitles anyway.
Basically, this car overtook me on my outlap, fine, let him through. And then holy shit, does he brake early. So I get spooked a little bit. He turns and I just go straight on. Everything's fine at this point. I do a flick turn. Again, everything's still fine at this point. And then as I'm re-entering the track, I didn't realize there's a bit of a gap or a step up between the grass and the asphalt. So my front wing just, boom, gone. The kind marshal is going to collect my front wing end plate for me. I doubt it's going back on the car, but be a nice souvenir, if you will. I'll give it away to one of my Patreon supporters so you can have it. Yeah, cheers.
The wing of shame is an ugly old spare front wing that we carry around, which gets its name from, I think you know why it's called the wing of shame after what I just did. Anyways, I think I needed some redemption at this point. While I'd ended the day with a spin, many missed apexes, and only half my front wing, it was still an absolutely incredible day of playing race cars. I want to give a huge thank you to all of my subscribers and also my Patreon supporters, because without you all, none of this would be possible.